Welcome to Canada's podcast. So, Thomas, welcome to Canada's podcast. Good to see you again. We met at Collision in Toronto. I was kind of fascinated by your story. Obviously, coming from France to here and building businesses here is interesting. And we don't often meet someone from the watch business, so I think it's a very different type of business, and therefore somewhat different stories around it. So before we get going, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit more about what you do and how you got here today, kind of thing.
Sure. But first thing first, thank you so much, Philip, for having me. Very excited. I love to share the love and chat. And obviously, as you can recognize, as you mentioned, I've been in Canada for almost 18 years now. Originally from Paris, France. And when I came in Canada, actually my wife's Canadian, so that's the reason why I came here. And so I came as an immigrant, I guess, 18 years ago, and doing getting job to pay the rent, and then slowly through the time I improved my English, I guess, and I also met a lot of people. Something that I love, that I'm passionate about, is communicating, talking, spreading information, and learning a lot. And then I was very lucky to be through the different journey in my career. I was very lucky to have a chance to work for a watch brand, a Swiss watch brand. It's called Hamilton Watches, part of the Swatch Group. I started the position in 2009 as a junior salesperson, basically, and that gave me the opportunity to learn about the industry, and mostly to discover amazing people in the industry. Something that I love to say is, as much that I really like having watches, and I have few of them myself. What I really love is the community behind the aspect. I love to chat with people, with the retailers and consumers, people behind the brand. That's really something that really inspired me. And then what happened is, when COVID hit, I decided to go back to school, and I started a master in business, and through that journey, I decided to survey the industry and really go deeply in the details with stats, export import, Switzerland, Stat Canada, and other countries in the States. I spoke to a lot of people, close to 1,000 people from the industry, but also as an end consumer, so retailer, brands, and also end consumer. And I realized some of the challenges in our industry, and obviously some positive element as well, because I really believe that everybody, industry, businesses, and individual, we are always we can always learn new things and grow. And so halfway through the MBA journey, I decided to leave the company that I actually really enjoy working with, and I love the team. Everybody and all the leaders were amazing. And I had the opportunity to be there for 12 years. So within 12 years, I had the chance to grow, I guess, a network, and mostly a reputation for myself. Again, sharing the love and talking to a lot of people within our company, but also with other brands. And basically, I decided to launch my business. And so that's when so my agency.
Tell us a bit about your business, Watch DNA.
Yeah.
Obviously the watch business, like many other businesses, is changing. So, what is it that why is Watch DNA there, if you like?
Yeah. So actually, Watch DNA it's basically the answer of the survey that I mentioned. So so something that I wanted to quickly, just to give you a little bit of the idea of the 360 environment that I'm trying to create. The first thing that I did is that when I launched my business almost 3 years ago, in October it will be 3 years. I decided to create an agency that help jewelers and help brands grow their online presence, but also do activation. Something that I used to love in my previous position is to do activation, pop-up shop activity, doing a lot of partnership. That's something that I really love and I'm really inspired. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have an agency that help retailers, independent retailers, because in our industry, there's a lot of small retailers that have one store, maybe two stores, but also bigger chain. But I also wanted to help brands grow online, but also doing activation and marketing activation and reaching the actual end consumer. And so basically what I realized is I wanted to launch a platform that's called Watch DNA that is another e-commerce platform. It's a no commission base. We don't sell any product. We're basically here to educate people about our industry and about all the brands. Something that I also realized is that now that I'm outside the group that I used to work, which are, again, unbelievable and they have amazing brands, something that I didn't realize is that there is actually more than 2,000 watch brands out there. And there's a lot. And there's also the big brands, but there are also micro brands. And so something through, I guess, my schooling that I really appreciate is to learn and discover new brands and new knowledge. And so I really wanted to create a platform, kind of like an encyclopedia of the watch industry, that basically every week, every month, like for example, we literally, with my team 2 weeks ago, we just added 50 new brands. So as of now, we have almost 170 brands. And the idea is really, and we don't charge anything to the brands. It's really, the idea is to educate end consumers about it. And then what we also do is we sync them with some social elements from there.
Stay ahead of the game with our expert tips and strategies that will help your business thrive in a digital era. CanadasPodcast.com. Subscribe now.
Oh, Thomas, that's really interesting. But let's move on and discuss some challenges. What's been the greatest challenge you've faced in the business to date?
To be honest, one of the challenges that I have for me is on the pricing, I would say. And because basically what happened is that I love to help and I love to try to find solutions. And before working in a corporate world, anytime somebody reached out to me for any services, sometimes I was doing it myself and I help and I'm more than happy to help. But a lot of time I was not able to. And I was like, oh, you know what? I have the perfect person for that. Or let me find out. And basically it was just, me being a nice person, I would call it, and just, trying to figure out together the help. But what I realized is that being an entrepreneur, obviously the knowledge that I gained through my years and the expertise and the network that I gained, in the end of the day, it's a lot of time. And so whatever time I use on doing something, even, to help somebody, I'm personally not doing it to work or to, work with a client, for example. So that's been a lot of challenges. Is like, for example, I have a lot of people that reach out to me. It's like, hey, Thomas, I'm looking for this service. So I'm looking for this person. Are you able to put me in contact, or do you know anybody? And most of the time I say, yes, I do. But now it's just it's just how. That's one of the elements. And the second element as well is pricing. And I was actually I tried to talk to a different entrepreneur, and basically the idea was, okay, I don't want to be the most expensive, but I also want to offer a service and a price that, makes sense for my knowledge and the time that I work with too. And so I realized that I cannot work with everybody, but at the same time, I want to try to work obviously as a young business. I'm almost 3 years, so it's not that young anymore. But that's been a little bit of a challenge, is being the nice Thomas person, but also being able to be like, yeah, but listen, I'm an expert at what I do, and I'm going to give you the best service that you can get out there, especially in our niche. That's really my idea. And to be honest, this is one reason, not the only, but it is one reason why I decided to go back to school. I personally didn't go to university, And so I did, I at the time when I was 19, I decided to go to the States to learn English and all that. But I I feel like through my personality and my experience and my network, that give me a good opportunity to go and say hi to people and have coffee with people. And I love, and I feel this is priceless to have this relationship. But I love the fact that because I went to school back during COVID, now I'm able to be like, okay, Thomas is a nice guy, but he also knows what he's talking about. So I feel like that kind of give a little bit of stamp, which, to be honest, before that, I never believe, and I always say, oh, it's just a piece of paper. I was always making myself, oh, that's fine, you don't have it. But now that I do have it, and now that I talk to people in the industry, like I get, and I think we spoke about it before, but now one thing that I'm very, very proud is when a university reach out to me and say, hey, Thomas, through your experience professionally and school-wise, are you able to chat in front of our students about entrepreneurship, about whatever? And this is the best moment for me, because I was like, oh, wow, I'm somehow, it's not about recognition, but I'm somehow able to spread the word and spread the knowledge. And so that's one reason. And I know I'm not answering fully your question. I'm kind of went away.
That's good. That's good. And don't worry, I'm letting you move it along. But it's funny because you kind of were talking about being asked things. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? The best piece of mentorship, as we tend to call it now, that you've received.
So I have few. The best piece, as coming from another entrepreneur, the best piece was telling me, okay, so as an entrepreneur, you have two options to succeed. You have option one, and it's you will make it. Your business will be successful. You will make it. And option two is option one will work. So there's not a quitting option. You have to go for it, and you try something. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Just do something else, but it will work, because one thing that I really appreciate in this conversation is, obviously, a lot as a human being and as a individual, we always try to find a way to, okay, if that doesn't work, then there's, okay, I have my school, I have my career, and I have I have my experience. And yes, and obviously, and I, to be honest, I still have great contact and relationship with my previous employer and the corporation. I really love everybody and the brands. I really love that. But on the entrepreneurial level, that was something that was like, oh, wow, option two is that option one succeed. I was like, oh, that's very inspiring.
That's pretty good, actually. I like that.
Right? And then on the other part, this is something that is not something that somebody told me, but something that I learned by myself. It's through my schooling. Is basically one thing that I like to say, and I actually have on my website, is that every day, every time that you have to do something, do it right away. Otherwise, you might put it aside and you were like, okay, tomorrow, and then you will never remember. And I remember I put these rules to myself in the beginning of when I went back to school, and when the first few paper that I had to do, I kind of not delayed them, but I was, I was a little bit confused and going back to school and all that, and I had a challenge of organizing myself. And so once I organized myself and I put myself this, okay, you have to do it now. Yes, you have 3 weeks to do a paper of, I don't know, 10,000 words or whatever it is, or, but no, let's do every day. Let's do it a little bit instead of just waiting for the last minute. And that's how I try to work. When I have a retailer or client or a brand that reach out to me, I'm like, okay, let's figure out things right away. Let's not just say, okay, I will come back to you next week. That's what I'm trying to do. Try to be proactive all the time.
Canada's podcast is your gateway to success in the world of entrepreneurship. Start listening today. CanadasPodcast.com. Subscribe now.
Let's have a little bit of fun. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing instead?
To be honest, I will be doing what I'm doing now. I don't know. It's and I don't want to go through all the details of my personal life and all things like that.
Yeah.
It can be exciting and boring for some, but the idea is basically when what happened to me is that basically, and I will give you a little bit of the personal detail, I guess, but not too much. I'm sorry for
No,
the
not too
viewers.
much, not too much.
But basically, the idea is that we had really hard. It was very hard for me and my wife to have our second child, our daughter, and so we had to go all the medical and all that and whatever it is. But when she happened, I basically told myself, "Wow, anything can happen." And then by that, I call it the miracle. And so by that, then I was like, you know what? I can go back to school. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I can start my business. And then, oh, you know what? I can build my house. And so we basically, everything that I just said, we did that during COVID. And so that was kind of the idea. Is that
that's very good? That's very good.
Thank you. And so that's kind of it. So to be honest, as much that there's complication and as much that there's headaches and as much that, I have water issue in my house, and I have a 3-year-old daughter and 9-year-old son, and I am an entrepreneur and I have my own business, and I'm there's challenges in everything. Yeah. I really want to see the positive, and I really want to grow, and in the end of the day, I want to be the best example that I can be for my children. That's basically what it is. And so, as a human being, as a business person, as everything, as a father, so everything that I do, I have them in mind.
So, are you a morning or a night person?
So it's a funny question. So what happened is that last year was a little bit hard time with some complication with the house and everything. Anyway, and so it was a hard time. And then I read an amazing book that's called Miracle Morning. And so through reading the book Miracle Morning, I kind of went to the journey of waking up early, like waking up at 5 o'clock, working out before the family starts, and then starting to have my journal and starting to work, starting to, read a little bit. Right. And so, and basically my kids wake up at 6:30. I already had, some of my tasks done on a personal level. And so I did that for like 2-3 months and realistically, and I also, that's just what it is. And now, I can't say it, but because I went a little bit, it was a little bit hard mentally as well. So I went to see somebody, to help me discuss and things like that. And I'm saying that. Why I'm saying that now, and I could have kept it for myself, but I'm saying that because I realized that everybody go through different journey and different issues, and I feel that if you usually when you go through an issue, you think that the world is pounding on you in any case, in any situation. It's always hard. And I realized that first, there's problem happening to everybody, and it's really how you want to react to this problem. It's you want this problem to put you down, or you want to actually try to confront them. And so I feel like by me having this, I would say, moment behind me, I can express. And when I talk, like, for example, when I talk to couple that have issue having kids, and I told them that I was in a situation, and they're like, oh, you as well. And then slowly, it's kind of like, I like to say that, if one day you really want a red car, and now everywhere you see red cars everywhere. That's kind of the idea, So that's kind of the idea. And again, I didn't answer your question, but I went away.
It's okay. Apart from kids, what's keeping you up at night in terms of, problems?
No. Home situation, home renovation, building your own house during COVID, and, dealing with,
What about on the business front? What's keeping you up at night in the business front?
Okay. No, you know what? The business front is not keeping up as a problem. The business front is keeping up because of the amount of work and the passion that I have. And something that I really love to say, because people ask me. Even yesterday, I met with somebody that I worked in my previous position. And we had coffee, and he's like, okay, so Thomas, tell me, what do you think? And, and I say, what I love is I love that every day I have a fireworks of thoughts in my brain. Every day I have ideas. That's maybe why I don't have hair anymore, is because every day I have so much ideas. And every time that I talk to somebody, I have another idea. And I'm like, oh, how can we partner together? How can we work together? How can we use each other's knowledge to grow and to develop and to evolve? And that's something that I really love. I really love is this aspect of being able to, a brand reach out to me and say, okay, Thomas, we need this. And I'm like, perfect. Let's figure out something. Let's figure out a solution for you, and let's make it good so you can do it again and again. And so I really, really enjoyed this time.
Thomas, it's been a really good meeting you, both in person and online.
Thank you.
We've got to come to a stop now. How can people get a hold of you if they've been listening to this and they say, I want to speak to this guy?
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, Thomas J Sandrin. I love to put the J because it's my grandpa, so it's remembering. But really, realistically, what I would like is, so basically online, I have two platforms. I have one platform which is my B2B, which is called northernwatchservices.com.ca. It doesn't matter, Northern Watch Services. But on the easy way, I also have a B2C, which is a platform that we created to educate people about watches. And once they're educated, to put them in contact with retailers that carry those products, because the idea is really to help support the local businesses. And then this platform is called Watch DNA. So Watch DNA, like the DNA of a watch. And so that's the very easy website, I guess, to remember. And then through that, any contact, email, link, social media, they all under Watch DNA.
Okay. Thanks, Thomas. It's been a lot of fun meeting you, and
thank you.
An interesting business. I really think it's interesting.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was a really interesting session. Loved it. Thanks for listening to Canada's podcast. I'm Phil Bliss. And on Canada's podcast, you really get to meet some very interesting entrepreneurs that drive Canada's economy. See you soon.